Well, meanwhile, over in our nation's capital, empty halls as lawmakers are out on vacation. And it's not just for a few days. It is a full 2-week paid vacation. Must be nice. Meanwhile, it is week 12 of Saturday in America asking, where is the Save America Act? Citizenship verification before voting. Of course, that's what it is. You know that. Now, one Republican told me that any Senate bill is dead on arrival until they pass that Save America Act.
There are probably 40 or 50 Republicans that are not going to vote for any piece of legislation from the Senate. Yep. That's a large chunk of the Republican conference. And again, I think it's because we recognize that this is the political issue of the day right now. This is what the American people want. And by the way, this is going to be key to House Republicans keeping a majority in November.
Joining me now, Texas Republican Congressman Brandon Gill. Congressman Gill, does that cohort of Republicans who say we're not passing other legislation until Save America Act passes, does that still exist, and how big is it?
You know, I think that there's still quite a few of us who want to see the Senate do whatever it takes to get the Save America Act, and are going to look pretty seriously at any Senate bill that they send over to us until they get that bill passed. But listen, the only way the Senate is going to get the Save America Act passed and get it to the president's desk is if they use a talking filibuster. We've known this for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's the only way that's going to get passed. And what we've seen so far is there are too many people in the Senate who would rather keep these perceived institutional safeguards in place than pass a bill that would mandate voter ID. That they would rather those institutional constraints than have election integrity, than have border security, than have Congress go after fraud, than basically have us do our job and save our country. And that's what we're frustrated with a Senate who is intentionally sclerotic and not doing their job and hiding behind these institutional what they call safeguards, but are really, in effect, just excuses to not do anything.
Why is the Senate so in love with the filibuster? It's not in the Constitution. They say it protects the minority voice. But I have a question. What protects the majority that elected Donald Trump, that elected Republicans to the Senate, that elected Republicans to the House, unified government? What protects the majority, and why this love fest for the filibuster?
You know, that's exactly the point. You know, the argument that you'll hear from the Senate, from the institutionalists, they'll say that we are protecting the institution, that the Senate is different from the House and that it ought to operate differently, that we are the deliberative body and we deliberate legislation. But the reality is they're not doing any of that. The Senate is not deliberating legislation. You don't see any real Senate debates on the Senate floor anymore. What you see is senators threatening to debate so that they have that 60-vote, cloture threshold. So the impact is that the Senate can't actually do anything. They're basically have very little democratic accountability because they have 6-year terms, and they have very little they don't listen to the people because they have this 60-vote threshold that they can hide behind. In effect, this call to protect the Senate as an institution is destroying the Senate as an institution. Yeah. The people want to know that whenever they elect a senator that they're actually going to do something, and they're not right now.
No doubt. And final question for you. I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to get this in because Save America Act is proving citizenship while voting. So we did find this rather ironic. We all know that Obama has a big, beautiful presidential library coming. Make your own opinions. But when you look at the requirement for the opening of that library, it says promotion open only to U.S. citizens or lawful permanent U.S. residents who are legal residents of the 50 United States. Why do we have stricter standards for the Obama library than for voting?
Well, because Democrats would like to allow non-citizens to vote in American elections. That's a core part of their long-term political strategy, is flooding the country with illegal aliens, trying to give them amnesty so they can vote for Democrats, and in the meantime, having open election systems and trying to get these illegals to vote for Democrats as much as they possibly can. Remember, it only takes a few fraudulent votes in key swing states and key swing districts to swing even a presidential election. So the stakes couldn't be higher, and that's why we have to fight for this legislation. We've got to take it seriously. And again, I don't think the Senate is, candidly.
Thank you, Congressman Brandon Gill. Keep fighting.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.